Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Senior Bowl preview edition of the Cheap Meal, presented by Deep Fried Draft. My name is Brian Bosarge. Apologize for my voice. It's 7:45 in the morning. I'm trying to do this before my daughter wakes up. Been a little under the weather. Trying to get healthy for Senior Bowl week, which is rapidly approaching. Practices will start 2 days from now. Everything starts Tuesday with the weigh-in, and then we'll have a chance to interview several players at the media. What used to be media night, now it's media lunch, I guess. But I'll have a chance to interview several players there. I've got several to talk to. I've got ready to go. Try to talk to as many players as I can, either at the media lunch or during the week after practice, maybe, or maybe after the game on Saturday. We'll see, but I will talk to several players this week. Then practices will start Tuesday. The Tuesday practice is usually helmets, shoulder pads, not a full padded practice. Wednesday and Thursday will be the two full padded practices. But I'll be there for all of it, and it'll be daily reports up on deepfrieddraft.com. I'll try to do either a podcast on the Bumpers app or a video here on YouTube, breaking down everything every day as well, with stuff that I didn't print on the website. You can go to deepfrieddraft.com right now and read an offensive and defensive preview, breaking down every position by position. I'm going to touch on a little bit of that here in the video today, but I'm not going to go into full details like I did there. What else? And then the Senior Bowl game itself will be next Saturday. Shrine game, NFLPA game were yesterday. A little sloppy on both sides there. Defenses stood tall for the most part in both of those games. But some good players there. Some of the players there and from both games, actually, you're going to see in the Senior Bowl this week, and that's because 20 players that accepted invites to the Senior Bowl no longer playing in the game. 3 of those players were hurt at the time that they accepted their invites, and now 7 players have dropped out of the game since the rosters were made official on Thursday. So that sucks. It happens every year. This year, for some reason, it seems like it's worse, but I could be wrong. Generally, before the weigh-in, Senior Bowl Director Phil Savage will go through list by list, player by player, and tell you why they didn't show up to the game, whether they did turn down their invitation in a timely manner or they just screwed the game over. And he'll let people know whether that happened or not. But a handful of players have got called up from the Shrine game that played there this week. And at least one player got called up from the NFLPA game. I'll go over those players as we go through the positions here in a minute. Currently, as of the current rosters, 22 players that are scheduled to play in this game I have in my last top 100. Now that's going to change after the Senior Bowl. You'll be getting new position rankings in the top 100, but this is my last one that I put out a few weeks ago. And 3 players that I had mocked in the first round of my mock draft will play in the game. All right, so let's start going to the positions here of the Senior Bowl. What we generally do with everything, we're going to start with the quarterbacks because that is obviously the most important position on the field of football. And this year we have some intrigue in that position at the Senior Bowl. They've gone back to 8 quarterbacks, 4 per team, something they did a couple of years ago. They're going to go back to do it. So generally in the game when that happens, each quarterback will get 1 quarter during the game, but they'll all have equal reps in practice. Mason Rudolph, who from Oklahoma State was listed as a quarterback, probably would have played on the South team, is out with an ankle injury. So they replaced him with Tanner Lee, a junior graduate from Nebraska, moved him to the North team and swapped somebody to the South probably Kyle Lauletta or Mike White. But on the North team, the two highest rated quarterbacks to play in this game this year, Baker Mayfield, the Heisman winner from Oklahoma. The top prospect in this game, per my rankings, will get a chance to play with the Broncos coaching staff, a team that is probably going to be looking for a quarterback in the first round, so that is convenient. They also get the other top-rated quarterback in this game, Josh Allen from Wyoming, who has not performed that well on the field, but has the physical traits that every NFL team loves. So he'll have a chance to show himself this week. Also on the North team, quarterbacks will be Luke Falk from Wazoo. He's a solid quarterback, probably projects as a quality backup in the NFL. For the South team, the best quarterback there is Kurt Benkert from Virginia. Very streaky guy, but he also possesses great traits. Mike White is a guy I know a lot of people really like. I've seen enough of him to be intrigued, but not enough to get behind him, so to speak. Same thing with Brandon Silvers from Troy, who's a local kid from Gulf Shores High School here. And Kyle Lauletta from Richmond, who I've maybe seen one game of. So this is somebody I really need to see this week, because I know he also gets he's getting a lot of buzz on the internets there. So there will be interest at the quarterback position definitely this week. The running back position, there is not what you call a flashy group here, but there is some good talent here. The only player that pulled out so far is Royce Freeman from Oregon. I'm not sure if he's injured or what. I know he didn't play in their bowl game either. But anyway, for the North team, you get Akram Wadley from Iowa. Solid back, nice burst to the outside, good balance. Kalen Ballage is a guy who, as a freshman, stood out, and you thought, he was going to get some serious, elevation, and he's got all the talent in the world, but for some reason the coaching staff at Arizona State, never gave him the football as much as you would think somebody of his talent and skill level would get. Like, if that cat was on an SEC team, he'd have got the ball 20, 30 times a game. It's crazy. I don't understand Todd Graham and his coaching staff's philosophy there. But, we'll see Ballage this week. Jalen Samuels from NC State is a jack of all trades. He has no set position in the NFL, and I said that in the article. I think that's going to be his savior and his downfall as far as the NFL goes. NFL teams will want him on their team because of his skill set. He can play running back, fullback, wide receiver, tight end, but I think that's also going to be his downfall because he has no set position. It's going to push him down the draft board somewhat, but he'll definitely impact the team next season. For the South, probably the best running back here is Rashad Penny from San Diego State. Sat behind Donnell Pumphrey the last couple of years. Mostly made his impact as a return man the last couple of seasons. But he rushed for over 1,000 yards as the backup running back last year, and then this year rushes for over 2,200 yards. Also had a couple of return TDs this year. I mean, Rashad Penny is strong. He's fast. He can catch. I don't know how he is in pass pro, but he also can return. I mean, he's a very good back. Ito Smith is a home run hitter from Southern Miss. He's just a bit undersized. I think that's, he's also great as a receiver out of the backfield. He returned a couple of kicks in the bowl game, but I don't know that he ever really did that in his career. But it might be a place that he can offer some value. Going forward. And Darrell Williams from LSU was a late add replacing Royce Freeman. Williams has been a backup the last couple of years to Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, but he runs with power. He's got some breakaway speed. Watch the Alabama game this year. Had a really long run in that game. definitely warrants some consideration in the later rounds. But I like Darrell Williams as a number 2, number 3 back in the league next year. The 2 fullbacks on the rosters, one is a true fullback, one is not. Dimitri Flowers from Oklahoma is more like Jalen Samuels. He can carry the ball, but albeit less carries than Jalen Samuels had. But he's a more polished route runner than your average fullback. So Dimitri Flowers probably more of an H-back, fullback type, because I watched them play a lot. Probably more how the Bengals use a Ryan Hewitt, maybe. Actually, no, probably not. Or maybe more along the lines of a Jordan Reed or somebody like that is what you're thinking of with Dimitri Flowers. Nick Bawden is more of your throwback fullback. Hit you in the mouth, get in the hole, smash face, which is crazy considering he's a former quarterback. I didn't know that until I started doing my research with players coming to this game, but Nick Bawden came to San Diego State as a QB out of high school. He probably offers a nice safety net, but he's more of a blocker than anything else. Wide receivers, this position has changed some since the rosters came out, but for the North squad, right now they have 7 wide receivers listed. I don't know if that's going to hold or not. Maybe, maybe not. But Braxton Berrios from Miami, a slot receiver, return man, one of the best return men in the country. Cedric Wilson, deep threat, great body frame for Boise State. Jaleel Scott, a guy I've been talking about on these videos all season long. Just huge frame, great catch radius. Stock's going to rise after this week. I think NFL teams are going to fall in love if they haven't already. Michael Gallup, Colorado State, very productive, great hands. Alan Lazard from Iowa State, one of my higher rated receivers in this game. He has a tremendous frame, very athletic, probably the biggest guy you'll ever see return a punt. He moved to the south. Justin Watson played at the Shrine game this week. He's one of the players that I talked about that got called up from the other games. But Justin Watson, I've never seen him play, but for all words, intents and purposes, he had a good week in St. Pete. Deshaun Hamilton, also a great week down in at the Shrine game. He got called up yesterday. And I said one of the receivers got moved to the south. That was Jamon Moore from Missouri, who was one of the most productive players in the SEC. Nice size, but a player I probably need to watch a little bit more of to get a firm grip on who he is. DJ Chark from LSU's got track speed, nice hands. Probably would have been a very, very special player with adequate quarterback play at LSU. James Washington is my highest rated wide receiver in this game. He plays wide receiver like he's a running back. That's not an insult to me. I mean, it's just he has the vision of a running back at the wide receiver position. So when his run after catch is amazing. Marcel Aitman has a huge frame, big third down target. Kind of got lost in the shuffle with the other Oklahoma State receivers and such. Traquan Smith from UCF and Byron Pringle from Kansas State were both early graduates that came out early but were eligible for the Senior Bowl. I didn't expect either to declare, so I haven't really watched either one of those guys play, but doing a little background research, I know Byron Pringle had some issues coming out of high school off field, but for all intents and purposes, he's been clean off the field. So I know NFL teams will have questions about that, but I'm not going to question that. This is, like I said, this was the position that got hit the hardest with some early guys coming out. Anthony Miller from Memphis would have been a top player here. But he pulled out. Javon Wims is a guy who I really, really liked. Started liking more and more I saw him. Got hurt in the national championship game, hurt his shoulder. I thought he might have been healthy enough to get back to the game, but apparently not. And Darren Carrington from Utah also pulled out. he's another guy that I think would have had to answer some questions about some off-field stuff that he had prior to enrolling in Utah. A good group here at the tight end position for the North team. You get Mike Gesicki, who is my third highest rated tight end overall. Makes some amazing grabs. Uses his frame well. Probably needs to block better. Same thing with Troy Fumagalli, who I think is probably going to be more of a move tight end from Wisconsin. Pass catching talent is definitely there. Tyler Conklin, former basketball player, also needs to block better. That's going to be a running theme here, I think. And for the North, Durham Smythe from Notre Dame, who I probably, let's throw salt in the wound of Durham Smythe here from Notre Dame. How many senior tight ends do I have rated higher that aren't in this game? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 senior tight ends that are not playing in this game that I think are better tight ends than Durham Smythe. I don't think Durham Smythe does any one thing well at all. I'm not questioning the Senior Bowl staff here, but there were better guys available. For the South team, Ian Thomas, JUCO transfer, can stretch the field, nice hands, from Indiana. Adam Brenneman started at Penn State. Very productive. Has battled injuries this year. Not swift, to be putting it nicely. But he was recruited to Penn State by Bill O'Brien, who will be his coach of this game with the Texans. Jordan Akins from UCF was a late add, former baseball player. Going to be 26, I think, as a rookie. But again, he's a guy that he came out early. I believe graduated early, so I didn't study him. So that's somebody I have to go back afterwards. His age will keep him from being drafted high, I would think. But definitely a piece I could see getting added later to somebody's team. And the best tight end here is easily Dallas Goedert from South Dakota State, one of my favorite players in this draft, who just had ridiculous production through his career. Catches everything, moves well, can line up in line, and out wide like pretty much every tight end here. He could stand a block a little bit better. He's listed at 6'4", 250. I question that, and so we'll see if the weigh-in justifies that weight or if I'm right. I hope for his sake it's right, because that could impact his draft stock if he comes in around 6'2"-ish or so. Offensive tackle position also got hit pretty hard with injuries. A guy who I had a first-round grade on before the game was Chukwuma Okorafor from Western Michigan. He pulled out yesterday. Martinez Rankin from Mississippi State and Tamon Paris from Stony Brook both withdrew with injuries. I think it's an athletic group for the most part, but a bit on a lot of guys I've never seen play, including guys like Cole Madison from Washington State as a guy. I think he may even play guard in this game, but a guy I just haven't concentrated on. Also for for the North, we have Brian O'Neill, was very athletic, early graduate from Pitt, caught 2 touchdowns last year. So very athletic for the position. Same with Tyrell Crosby, very physical, from Oregon. Got the potential, I think, to be a franchise left tackle. And you have Brett Toth from Army, has tremendous size. Played at the Shrine game this week. He's going to play at the Senior Bowl next week. He committed to both. He committed to the Shrine, then got a Senior Bowl invite. Committed and stayed for both games. I have a theory as to why, because since he probably pass blocked about 11 times this year, I think he needs all the pass blocking reps that he can get, and that's why he's doing it. which is smart. The South team offensive tackles, I have watched not a whole lot. I've watched Joe Noteboom from TCU, but never really concentrated on him, so I have to go back and do that. But the other three players, I've seen Brandon Parker play. I'm lying. I've seen him play a lot last year. I didn't watch him any this season, except the Celebration Bowl. But Alex Kappa from Humboldt State, Desmond Harrison from West Georgia. I've seen some clips on Twitter of Desmond Harrison just ragdolling people. But he transferred from Texas, got kicked out for the weed there, I believe. Jamil Demby from Maine got called up from the NFLPA game to replace a quarter four. This position, I think there's some guys here that have a chance to make a lot of money because coming in, not a lot of people are going to know that much about them. They want to see them against the big time athletes from the big time conferences. So this is going to be their shot. The interior offensive line, we need to get this rolling and start going through a little quicker. I've gone long-winded. But Mason Cole from Michigan for the North team, he's converted from offensive tackle, moving down to center. Scott Quessenberry from UCLA, solid guard prospect, in my opinion. I think he's actually playing center in this game. Wyatt Teller, Virginia Tech, very physical player. Will Hernandez from UTEP, the highest rated guard prospect here, just a mauler. Sean Welsh from Iowa. For the South team, you have a junior graduate, Taylor Hearn from Clemson. Colby Gossett is a guy who's starting to get some buzz as a player who can make a move up draft charts from Appalachian State. Played offensive tackle there. Austin Corbett from Nevada played offensive tackle there. Projects inside to guard or even center. He's going to play center in the game this week. Per Josh Norris of Roto World, he's in 4 years he played 97% of his team's offensive snaps. That's crazy for an offensive lineman. Bradley Bozeman, 2-year starter in Alabama, but a bit underwhelming. Isaiah Wynn, starter at left tackle this season for Georgia, but could be a long-term starter at guard in the NFL. Skylar Phillips, saw one game of his earlier this year, did not come away impressed, but we'll see how he plays this week. Plays at Idaho State. And Frank Ragnow from Arkansas is out this week. Injured. Having some difficulties. The edge rushers in this game, for the North squad, Agbanya Okoronkwo from Oklahoma. Quick off the edge guy, may move to linebacker. Kamoko Toure had his productions tailed off, but the pass rush skills for him are there. Tyquan Lewis from Ohio State kind of got lost in the shuffle there with the other pass rushers for the Buckeyes, but he'll have a chance to make some noise this week. Garrett Dewey and Dewey from Wisconsin and Dewey Jarvis from Brown. I haven't studied either one. Not going to be able to study Dewey Jarvis except for this week, to be honest. Not much Brown film out there. Chad Thomas from Miami got called up from the Shrine this week. Very physical player with some nice bend. For the South team, Kylie Fitz from Utah has battled injuries over his career, but good upside there. Marquise Haynes from Ole Miss also battled injuries. His production also tailed off. Uchenna Nwasu from Southern Cal, crazy get-off array of pass rush moves, finishes plays. Marcus Davenport is the guy who's going to pick up the buzz after this week. Just a physical specimen, physically dominated in the Sun Belt, not the Sun Belt, Conference USA this year. Teams are going to want to see him dominate in practices. So we'll see Three players dropped out of this one: Harold Landry from Boston College, Duke Ejiofor from Wake Forest, and Davin Bellamy from Georgia. Moving on to interior defensive linemen. And when I say defensive linemen, this could be either your traditional nose tackles, your 3 technique defensive tackles, or your 5 technique defensive ends in a 34 defense of alignment. That's these guys. Basically guys that aren't rushing off the edge, but they can rush from the inside, such and such. For the North team, Justin Jones and B.J. Hill, both of NC State. Solid players, but to me they were the 3rd and 4th or 4th and 5th best defensive linemen on their team, which is crazy because they're good players. NC State had a crazy good defensive line this year. But I liked Bradley Chubb, and obviously he's a top 5 pick, and Kentavious Street, who played at Shrine Game. I like those two better than Jones and Hill, and I also like Darian Roseborough, who went back to school. But Harrison Phillips from Stanford, a junior graduate, led Stanford in tackles, which is amazing for an interior defensive lineman. Jalen Holmes, Ohio State, another one like his teammate Taquan Lewis, that kind of got lost in the shuffle. And Nathan Shepard from Fort Hays State. Obviously, this will be the first time I've seen him play because I didn't even know where Fort Hays State was until I saw him announced, and I had to look it up. For the South team, Deshaun Hand from Alabama, former #1 overall high school recruit. Very scheme diverse, as most Alabama defensive linemen are. Andrew Brown from Virginia, another top high school recruit, who it took a little while to find his way at Virginia. Puna Ford from Texas, sub 6 foot, run plugger, got brought up from the Shrine Game. Christian Wakater from LSU, late add to the game, had his best career season this year after he tore his knee up in 2016, has pass rush ability. Greg Gilmore from LSU was a late add, a guy who I need to watch more of. Their teammate, other interior defensive lineman Frank Herron, had a great game in the NFLPA game yesterday. This position probably was the one that got hit the hardest by the defectors, because 2 of my higher rated prospects in this game, Derek Nottie from Florida State and Maurice Hurst from Michigan, pulled out. The linebacker group here, probably the worst overall position group. No player, I don't have any players here that are playing the game that I had ranked in my last top 100. For the North team, they have 3 guys who I haven't really studied at all. Jawan Bentley from Purdue, Mike McRae from Michigan, and Miles Pierce from the Citadel, who played at Daphne High School locally here. So I have to watch those. Nick DeLuca from North Dakota State probably would have played in this game last year if he didn't get hurt. And Fred Warner from BYU, solid pass coverage, got 7 career interceptions. For the South team, you have one of the best stories in the draft itself, playing in Shaquem Griffin from UCF. One of the only has one hand. Had a issue as a child with his hand, something from birth, so he had to lose his hand, but it's not stopped him in life, and that's an inspiration to many. I mean, just what this kid has had to go through, and how productive he's been as a player. He just plays with reckless abandon. Been the American Conference Defense Player of the Year 2 years in a row. He has great get off as a pass rusher, and he's just always running the ball. But it's just an interesting evaluation. It doesn't seem to affect him, but NFL teams, it's gonna come into play. So we'll see. Very interested to see him out of practice this week. Micah Kaiser for Virginia, very smart player, highly productive. Trey Williams from Auburn, another local player in this game, played at St. Paul's High School. Nice range for him. And Darius Leonard from South Carolina State and Dorian O'Daniel from Clemson are guys I both need to watch more of. Rashawn Evans and Sean Dion Hamilton of Alabama both pulled out of the game. Rashawn Evans is healthy. Rashawn Evans said he just wants to get ready for the combine, which I think is chicken shit, since the combine is 6 weeks from now. So if you're not injured, you need to come play. It's the way it is. And this training for combine crap, it's stupid. I'm tired of ranting on it, but if you're healthy, play. Sky Moore allegedly has a turf toe injury. Didn't seem to bother him in the Outback Bowl. So unless he developed turf toe training, whatever. Hate that he's not playing. To the cornerback position, another mostly unknown group, and you're going to hear that a lot as I get to the safeties as well. These are just guys, these positions, corner and safety, are the last two that I get to study. So my rankings wildly fluctuate for these guys as I get further along in the process between now and the draft. For the North team, those guys that I need to watch more of, and by watch more, I mean like Michael Joseph from Dubuque, probably not going to get to watch a whole lot of him, or Taron Johnson from Weber State. Christian Campbell, Penn State. Isaac Yiadom from Boston College. I have seen enough to know that Darius Phillips from Western Michigan and Duke Dawson from Florida are both highly productive players who are a bit undersized, probably best suited for the nickel role in the NFL. Darius Phillips also a great punt returner. A guy I know a lot about is Jamarcus King from South Carolina. Local kid to Mobile, played at Blount High School. He's very long, 6'2", long arms, very lean though, but he has great ball skills, needs to add some strength. He has improved his strength from his junior season to senior season this year, but he still needs to add more. For the South team, guys that I need to watch more of, Saron Neal, Jacksonville State, Chandon Sullivan, Georgia State, Devontre Wade, Murray State, and Danny Johnson from Southern. Levi Wallace from Alabama, from a walk-on, became a starter this year. Great ball skills, good length for him. MJ Stewart, North Carolina, has played since his freshman season, has 6 interceptions in his first 2 years, and then teams have stopped throwing at him. Cameron Kelly, San Diego State, was a safety his first 3 years with the Aztecs. Moved to corner. He's got tremendous size, 6'3", good ball skills, very good tackler. Anthony Averett and Cameron Moore from Boston College both pulled out of the game. Safeties, and again, like I said, this is the last position I get to study. It's also the hardest for me because safety, you don't know their assignments, you don't know where they are, and it's really hard to see on the TV film that I basically am studying from. But for the North team, Marcus Allen from Penn State, Armani Watts, Texas A&M, Trayvon Henderson, Hawaii, they need more study. Kaiser White, brother of Kevin White, former Bears first-round pick, also current wide receiver prospect, Keshawn White. Yeah. But Kaiser White's a heat-seeking missile at safety. He'll hit you, and he hits you hard. For the South team, I need to see more of Trey Matthews of Auburn, Jeremy Reeves of South Alabama. But Quinn Blanding of Virginia is highly productive in-box safety that range is limited. Could see a move to linebacker a la Mark Barron, Deion Buchanan in his future. Specialist here for the North team, you have Michael Bagley from Miami and Johnny Townsend from Florida. For the South team, you have my number 1 kicker prospect in Daniel Carlson from Auburn, and my number 1 punter prospect, J.K. Scott from Alabama. A couple long snappers. I forget the kid from Auburn's name. Ike Powell from Auburn, long snapping for the South team, and for the North team, Tanner Carew from Oregon. So, this has been a very, very long video, so I'm going to cut it off now. Follow me on Twitter, at Deep Fried Draft. You'll get updates all week this week from the Senior Bowl on Twitter. Facebook.com/Deep Fried Draft. Like the page there. Everything that I post on the website goes to there. You'll see it there. It also goes on Twitter. So you'll see the links to there. So follow either one of those places. Follow them both. Whatever. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube, and any video that I post this week or going forward, you'll be notified when it hits, and you can watch it. I'll appreciate it. And download the Bumpers app. Sure, it's available in the Android store or whatever, and the apps. No, it's definitely available on iOS and the App Store. Download that. Subscribe to Deep Fried Draft or Brian Bosarge. I'm not sure what it's listed under, but it is Deep Fried. It's listed under Deep Fried Draft. Bumpers.com/u/Deep Fried Draft. That's me. Subscribe there. You'll know when the podcasts go up. That's going to do it, man. I look forward to Senior Bowl this week. I'm pumped. If you watch this video or you follow me on Twitter and you just want to say hi, see me at the practices, I'll be in Deep Fried Draft gear. I'll be the only one there wearing it. So just stop me, say hey. I love to talk draft. I love to talk Senior Bowl. Come see me. Thanks everybody for listening and watching. Later.